Give us your testimony.
Yes, my name is Frederick Douglas Haynes. It was my hope that the outcome of the hearings would reflect that we were actually heard. Instead, it feels that in light of the proposed maps, that some people are just tone deaf to what Texans want. Tone deaf to justice, tone deaf to the spirit of the Voting Rights Act of 65, 70 years ago, but their ears are wide open to the wannabe king in D.C. Our justice ministry has almost 3,000 signatures attached to a rejection of the racist redistricting because we want to be heard. With racist surgical precision, these maps reflect gerrymandering with a scalpel dipped in injustice which amounts to legislative sin. The Bible, often quoted by many here, has a prophet by the name of Isaiah who warns, woe to those who legislate evil. It's an announcement of judgment on those who are in positions of power and legislate evil. We had hearings, but we weren't heard. So I remixed the old commercial, can you hear us now? We the people have not been told, and we need to know every analysis or assessment that was done for districts 9, 18, 29, 30, and 33 when this map was drawn by the law firm. The Texas I live in is growing more diverse, more vibrant, more engaged, but this map sends a chilling message that some Texans count more than others, that some voices can be amplified while others are muted or moved out of sight. Can you hear us now? The proposed redistricting maps are not simply technical adjustments, they are a moral failing. They silence the voices of black and brown communities, including mine, by redrawing lines to remove us from districts where we have built coalitions, cast ballots, and claim representation. Because of these new lines, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, an unrelenting voice for justice, will no longer represent me. That ain't a coincidence. She was targeted by the wannabe king who weaponizes his power. This redistricting is not about fairness, it's a calculated attempt to dilute our power. These maps are not just unjust, but they are immoral.
Please
so I
complete your
simply
testimony.
call on this House to reject gerrymandering, resist injustice, and to remember that democracy is not the privilege of the powerful, but the promise to the people. Can you hear me now?
Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for the members of this panel? Representative Barbara Griffin-Hawkins, you recognize the question of the panel.
Pastor, you have any additional comments?
Without question. I want us to keep in mind this is 70 years post 1965 when the Voting Rights Bill was passed, signed by a Texan in D.C. named Lyndon Baines Johnson. One of the sad things about that Voting Rights Bill, not only has it been gutted, but a part of the gutting had to do with certain states that had an ugly track record of gerrymandering, voter suppression, and one of those states is this one. And what this committee is doing is basically what the Voting Rights Bill 70 years ago warned against. And so the question becomes, are we going to be honest to the spirit of what it means to live in a democracy where every vote counts, every person has a voice who is eligible to vote? Are we serious about that? I'm real concerned that we've had hearings, and I want to thank the chair because according to Mr. Hunt, you didn't have to do it, but you did, and I thank you for that. Because for me, when you say we're having hearings, it's because you want to represent the voices and the will of the people. And so I thank you for that. But since you didn't have to do it, my question is Jasmine Crockett right? Is this a sham or were we heard? Because the vast majority of Texans reject outright what is being placed before us. Jasmine Crockett right now is my congressperson. But the way this thing has been I'm going to use the language, you don't like it, cracked and packed. In the racist redistricting, she's no longer my congressperson. I want her voice as my congressperson. I want Al Green to not be targeted by the wannabe king. So much is being done here to hurt so many people when all we have to do is understand we are Texans. Well, let's be proud of being Texans and not get trumped in the process.
So, Pastor Haynes, your request to this committee is that your district is restored.
I want my district restored. I want this redistricting proposal rejected, thrown out, and I want an independent group of persons in this state to draw the line so that we get delivered from gerrymandering.
So you're offended that these decisions are made outside of Texas?
It's no question. It's no question. I'm quite offended by the fact that, again, a wannabe king who wants to run everything, including this state, has decided who gets to pick their voters as opposed to their voters selecting their representatives. And so for me, that's super problematic.
So, Pastor Haynes, if this committee continues, you're committed to mobilize your people, which I know there's thousands, to address this issue. Is that correct?
Without a doubt. And there are a whole lot in this room right now and a whole lot outside this room. And they are ready because, again, our voices deserve to be heard. We paid too high a price for our voices not to be heard and to be wiped out by the new water hoses, which is gerrymandered lines.
And would you agree that you have members in all of these people's districts and people who know people in these districts, and they're very serious about what needs to happen?
They're very serious about what needs to happen and are committed and determined to invest whatever they need to do to make sure that we have true justice and not gerrymandering.
And this will be a movement that have ever been seen before.
Such as has never been seen before. I was just speaking to one of my beloved members and leaders, and he basically talked about, well, we may need a freedom summer right here in Texas.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hawkins. Members, for the